Waller second, Qiao, Zhang, and Qiao are third with the Soviets. Dovchataya and Khan fifth. Shadbolt and Hogan from Australia. Dawes and Giubellini made it in. Ferrazzi and Viligiardi and Fraguas and Rubio round out the top 8. Now the teams that did not advance because of the rule that we mentioned, that only 2 American teams can go to the second round. Woolsey and Ringnold and Miller and Kirksey get bounced and don't make it to round 2 of the competition. So with that behind us, now we're going to go over to the balance beam. Zhang. We saw her brilliant performance earlier on the uneven bars, Kathy.
And they were much more impressive here in this competition than they were at American Cup, both the Soviets and the Chinese teams.
The scores from round 1 to round 2 will add, so every performance counts.
The Chinese are typically very good on this event. Their choreography is usually exceptional. Back handspring, 2 layout step outs. Boy, you could see she was off in the air, but somehow pulled it back on. So one thing you really try and teach young gymnasts, that it's not over till it's over. You might be a little bit off in the air, but really fight for the landings.
There's an unusual move.
Judges also look for original moves like that. Particularly now when really they've pushed the limits of gymnastics out so far. Gymnasts need to come up with these original moves. Back handspring down to a swing down. Here comes her dismount. She's had a little trouble with the landing on these. It's a round off double back. Just one little hop on the landing. A very nice job. Really, the only thing that stands out in that routine are slight knee bends throughout the routine. They're just not locked out straight. It's really something that's very hard. It's a picky deduction. This, you can see she's off in the air, the arms are flailing, but she pulls it around and manages to stay on. Of course, it will be a slight deduction, though.
And we would like to mention that we have 7,011
dismount,
of you
much better than in the warm-ups. High double back and just a slight hop on the landing.
International mixed pairs.
So a strong performance for China on the balance beam. Zhang. Her teammate, Liang, goes over to parallel bars. He was second place in the American Cup just the other day on the parallel bars and earned him a little prize money under this new format. It's kind of interesting to see a little bit of different motivation for many of the gymnasts. A lot of the top international competitors now selecting their international schedule around meets that offer the most prize money, not just the meets that offer the most exposure internationally. 9.625 was the score on balance beam for Zhang. Liang opens up with a big move here. 1 3/4 front flip in the pike position. Well done. There's a nice move. It's called a makuts. It was invented by a great Soviet gymnast. And a very clean, tough double back with his knees together and his toes pointed. However, the judges require the gymnast to do A, B, C, and D moves. That double back with the legs bent is only a C move. He'll have a slight deduction for not doing a really big dismount, but this was the best part of the exercise. Front 1 3/4, and notice right here he does a back up rise and a straddle cut and continues and doesn't get a deduction for a part of no value. Many gymnasts who use that sequence actually have to take an extra swing and get a 2/10 of a point deduction. Nice form on this tuck double back. He certainly is pleased with that performance. Qiao Liang and Zhang Xia. Always the Chinese seem so loose and casual.
You read my mind, Bart. As far back as I can remember, they were always the friendliest competitors.
Scores 9.80.
Always smiling, always having a good time, but working hard like everyone else.
Well done there, 9.8 for Qiao. The score 38.975 for the pair.
USA, Switzerland.
Now we get ready to go over to the truly mixed pair here in this competition. Dominique Dawes, who's paired up with a gentleman from the Swiss team, Danielle Giubellini. We saw her do a great job on floor.
Nice swing moves. So it's her first release move. And a pike double back dismount, excuse me. The very nice routine. She only did the one release move, but she did have nice giant swing work, a full pirouette on the high bar, and a pike double back dismount, which is a little more difficult than the tuck.
Gymnastics parents in this room. This may sound familiar.
Here's her release move. It's a Jaeger front, plenty of height. Really, the only deductions are very slight deductions. Unpointed toes, bent knees, but ever so slightly.
This 14-year-old has already traveled to Spain and Australia. And she finished, Kathy, with a strong pike double back. She didn't seem as able to play up to the crowd through that performance. A lot more worried about getting through her bar routine.
And he's just about ready to go. Once again from Zurich, Switzerland, 21-year-old Danielle Giubellini.
So a concerned Dominique Dawes hoping to qualify through to the third and final round in this mixed pairs competition. Hoping to get a little help from Danielle Giubellini from the Swiss team. Her score was a 9.725 for that bar routine. Here's Giubellini. Oh! You could tell right away, Kathy, that he just pitched that out a little bit too far.
And so could his coach, thank goodness. The men are allowed to have the spotter underneath the high bar for exactly that circumstance.
This is a one-arm giant swing into a ginger, and you can just tell he pitches it out a little too far, and there's not much you can do when you're too far away. You just start planning your landing.
And the coach slows down the fall.
His coach, Bruno Cavelti, has gone through a few of them falls himself. Did I say of them falls?
I think you did, Bart.
He loses a half a point, has to continue his exercise. Here's the dismount. And a double, twisting double. Good form and a strong finish. But that's certainly going to hurt the efforts of the truly mixed pair here, Giubellini and Dawes. We'll be back with their score right after this. McDonald's International Mixed Pairs continues.
Discover the excitement and challenge of roller skating in Coral Springs and ice skating in Sunrise. Easy to learn, fun to try. Great for birthday parties, pizza parties, thrills and spills for everyone. Come to Sunrise Ice Skating Center on Pine Island Road. The Roller Skating Center of Coral Springs on University Drive. And find out how much fun you can have on wheels and ice.
Lou Back Road Chevrolet in Pompano Beach has a full house of new and used cars and trucks priced to move now.
We're dealing, and what a hand!
We're dealing on a brand new 91 Cavalier, a low 76.67. We're dealing on a full-size long bed pickup, only $92.92. Zero money down. Bank reps on hand for immediate delivery.
Pick a car, any car, and come out a winner, hands down.
Lou Back Road Automotive Family.
Lou Back Road Chevrolet on Atlantic Boulevard, a half-mile west of I-95.
April is filled with TV you've got to see on ESPN. Major League Baseball leads off with an opening day doubleheader, plus live games 4 nights a week. Jack's back in full swing, joining the seniors at the Tradition. Our team watches your team make its picks at the NFL Draft. Don't miss NASCAR's best, speeding by with 4 Winston Cup races, and top thoroughbreds heading down the stretch towards the Kentucky Derby. April's National Cable Month, TV you've got to see on ESPN.
Bart Connor and Kathy Johnson back here at Georgia Tech as competition continues in round 2. Pair of the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs, Sonia Fraguas. We saw her take a pretty nasty crash on the uneven bars. We'll see how well she can recover from that and perform here on the balance beam.
Even though these gymnasts are very young, they really do have the experience to come back from a fall like that.
She has nice polish.
She does. Beautiful toe point. Oh, a nice pass. Slightly off to the side. Hardly a deduction at all. She really strives for perfection. You can see in all her leaps, all her skills. Little cover there on the full turn. Back handspring layout, step out. She really does have a lot of the qualities of a high-class performer.
Good technique and polish. Obviously a lot of dance training.
And a double back dismount. Just one step on the landing, a very nice job. And again, coming off the uneven bar routine where she had a fall. She's come back very, very nicely.
14 years old.
Kathy, this pass here, I don't know why anyone would want to do this.
She does a back handspring layout step out and goes immediately up. That was her second back handspring layout step out. They faked us out.
Still, I don't know why anyone would want to do this.
And a round off double back dismount. Just pulls it around. I think the one thing she needs to work on is overall strength and power. You can see that evident on the dismount.
What a darling young girl and a strong competitor. Next up, Miguel Rubio. Remember, he's from Barcelona, but has competed for HBU. He has a very big high bar routine. Look at this combination. A one-arm giant to a Jaeger, a front flip. And again, a release move out of a one-arm giant swing. That one called a ginger. Oh, and he tops off that handstand. This exercise is terrific. Here comes a huge dismount, a triple.
Oh, saves the landing. I thought for sure he was going down, but he just takes that big step backwards. What was great about that dismount, Bart, is it actually rose into the second somersault. Many of them start to come down a little sooner.
Watch this combination. That jam with a full turn, one-arm front giant to a front flip, very complex. And the dismount, as you mentioned, Kathy, this is probably the best triple in the world. He rotates so nicely. He really turns it over. Look at, he drops out of the sky. Just a little too much rotation.
I think he thought he was going down, too. That was a nice save.
9.65 was the score for Fraguas in her balance beam effort. We'll wait for the score for Rubio. 9.7, so 19.35 is their score for round 2. A 38.4 is their total after the 2 rounds of competition.
And if you noticed her earrings, they're Mickey Mouse earrings, so maybe that's what she picked up at Disney World.
Now from Houston, Texas, we welcome to balance beam, Betty Okino.
Well, the crowd certainly loves this young lady, Betty Okino, American Cup champion, getting ready to perform on the beam.
and actually somewhat tall for a gymnast. She's 5'1", 84 pounds. So she's lean and mean.
And at 5'1", she does look like a giant compared to some of these 4'5" teammates of hers.
Which really looks beautiful on this event. The long legs, the long arms. Here's her most difficult pass. 2 layout step outs right in a row. Not much you can say about those. Right on the money. Double turn, absolutely gorgeous, and she can actually do a triple turn. I've seen her do it, and it is remarkable. There's her strength move. It's called a plunge. Here's her dismount pass. 2 back handsprings into a double back somersault. Oh, 1 step on the landing. Everything else was near perfect.
And what a treat for this crowd here in Atlanta.
Oh, they're on their feet.
Coming to their feet. Even Bella Caroli approved of that performance. This young lady's confidence just has to be soaring since her win just a few days ago in the American Cup.
This is really a great audience, Bart. I think they're all getting excited for the Olympics in '96 here. Here's that first pass, 2 layout step outs. She doesn't even flinch on the landing.
How about this double turn?
This is my favorite part. So many people don't realize how difficult that is. As difficult as the somersaults we just saw.
Well, that has to be
And the dismount, I know she was trying to stick this.
The whole point of this competition.
But just pulls it around just a tiny bit too much. Takes a little step back.
Well, that little step was all that the judges could find as a mistake because her score on 9.9.
Gentlemen, Trent Dimas.
And a great performance in round 2. Now, Betty Okino's teammate, Trent Dimas, up on the rings. A little bit of pressure on Trent here. The young ladies leading the way and performing beautifully. This is the kind of situation Trent likes to be in, however. He's actually been criticized a little bit by his teammates for not necessarily being enough of a team player. He's quite the individual, but he has found what works for him. Showed a beautiful combination early on of the twisting elements we've seen from Sherbo of the Soviet team. A little shaky in that handstand, and see the swing. The judges will deduct for that. Boy, this crowd is fired up.
And
Americans looking
they're on
very
their feet
strong.
again.
They're on their feet for this American pair, and there's more great gymnastics to come. Trent showed us a sequence here that Vitaly Sherbo from the Soviet Union used. Notice he twists the rings, dislocates back through the rings, and completes it with a front giant. You can hear the score of 9.8 for Trent Dimas. After he stuck that laid out double back, his 9.8 along with a 9.9 for Betty Okino, 19.7 and a 39.4 is their score after round 2. So they'll take the lead, and we'll be back with more gymnastics after this.
chocolate wafers, chocolate cream, peanuts, and milk chocolate.